I was going to say good morning, everyone, but obviously that would show that my timekeeping is not perfect because it's definitely the afternoon. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is fairly informal webinar where you're going to hear from people that actually do the volunteering. So, they're going to give you an idea around what it is they do, what they get involved with, what tea they drink out of special mugs. Um, and what volunteering means to them. And at the end of that, hopefully that will have fired off some questions. If you have any questions that come up during these chats, and they are not presentations, there's no PowerPoint or anything like that. This is very informal space. Feel free, chuck them into the chat and I'll have a look at them, and then we can have a little question and answer session afterwards. If something comes to your mind during the question and answer, either put it in the chat or speak up. It, as I say, it's an informal thing where hopefully you're going to get a really good idea of what being an IWFM volunteer is all about. I'm Ian Christopher. I am the Volunteer Partnership Manager, and my day job means that I am fortunate enough to work on a regular basis with these good people and all the work they do. So without further ado, because I'm the boring bit, these are the interesting bit, I'm going to introduce Anna Williamson first, who's going to give you an overview on networks, because we've got regions, SIGs and networks that you can become involved with, and take it from there. Anna, over to you, if I may.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian. And well, it's the two Ians I have the pleasure of being on with this morning. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a background of what's available and what I do, why I do it, why I find it valuable, what I get out of it. So what's in it for me. There's some names I recognise on the call. So nice to see some familiar faces, but even better to see people that I don't know and that I haven't had a conversation with yet. So welcome, everyone. Lee. You've just joined as well. That's wonderful. Ian, Lee is here. You're still on mute, Ian. So
I say my best things on mute. Welcome, Lee. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Anna's just doing the network bit, and then we're going to have Ian do the region bit. And then if we can hand over to you to give us an overview on SIGs, because I know you're part of the risk and business continuity, that will be great. Again, over to you, Anna.
thanks, Ian. So why do I do this? Well, primarily it is to ensure that I am plugged into the IWFM lead WFM in the UK. I deliver academic programs in FM, and so it's my job to be at the bleeding edge really of what is going on in the sector so that I can work that back into the teaching materials. So I sit on as a committee member. I am secretary. Whether I do a good job of being a secretary on the Strategic Leaders Forum, that is for others to comment on. But I do have an office. I am an office holder on that committee, and I've just made some notes here that the mission and vision of the Strategic Leaders Forum is, well, the vision is that we see a world in which workplace and facilities managers are recognised, resourced and represented in the C-suite at that decision-making table across all organisations in the UK. And that was one of the findings that came out of the panel discussions that were, if you were at IWFM Live, you'll have seen us talking about that. We can't just, our jobs don't just begin at handover. With an ops manual. We need that seat at the decision-making table. And if we're going to be at the decision-making table, we need to be working in a strategic way. So the SLF, the Strategic Leaders Forum, exists to equip all certified and fellow grade members with the insight and the network and the platform to lead WFM as a strategic board level initiative wherever you operate. And so you'll see us on the road in October, where we've got a roadshow around strategic asset management. So there's a eclectic panel of us all coming at it from different perspectives, different angles, and really showing what strategic asset management looks like at that strategic level. So with Ian's permission later, when I'm not speaking, I'll drop some links into the chat, Ian, if that's okay, on some of these that we're able to share the details of right now. But yeah, October, keep October free because there'll be a panel coming to you soon on that. And then I do sit on the sustainability SIG, but I'm going to defer to Lee to talk about SIGs. And in terms of networks, I also sit with the WIFM, Women in FM. I'm an advocate for Women in FM. We've got some challenges in WIFM in that we need to retain female talent. Um, Women entrants are already low, the numbers are already low, but retention rates are even worse. And there's many complex challenges for that. And so if you ever want to know anything about coming in as a woman into FM, or you want to know how to stay in FM or what your routes are to membership and progression, then reach out to me because I'll be only too happy to look at that. And then finally, we've got the education network, which will is just gearing up and will start dropping into your inboxes shortly. So because I've got that background in education and research, we've reconstituted is the phrase I'm borrowing from Mr. Christopher there. We've reconstituted the education network specifically to represent those in education, writing curriculum, showing also how to breadcrumb, if you will, lay the breadcrumbs for people who want to leave school, leave college with a dedicated route into FM. Because to a one of us on this call, I'm sure we all feel and say that we fell into FM or we were absorbed into FM. We didn't really have an educational route into that. So if we in education can do our bit to open up education to those leaving school and give them a direction and a focus and a career, a worthwhile career in FM, then that is our mission and vision as well. And I'll pause there and let somebody else get some airtime for a moment, Ian, because I've got much more to say on it, but I'd like to hear from the others as well, and then we can talk about how it benefits us all to be a volunteer and how much time it takes and so on, and how we're all aiming to be more well-rounded professionals and contributors to the sector.
Excellent, Anna. Thank you for that. Appreciative. I'll put my teeth back in. Appreciated as always from you. Ian, I'm going to throw you right in at the deep end now because Ian is the newly appointed chair of South Region, which needs an awful lot of work done to it. And Ian's taken on that mantle. Brave man that he is. And hopefully we're working together to try and make the difference there. So, Ian, over to you. What is it you're trying to do and what does volunteering mean to you?
So I think people ask about volunteering, and the answer is no, for me, the same. It's a great way to meet new professional colleagues and put something back into the profession I think we're all passionate about and love. Its facilities is all about people, but we support others, we solve problems, but we're always behind the scenes. If everything's working right in a building, nobody notices. But when it goes wrong, we're the first people that find out. And by supporting colleagues with the IWFM, it's surprising how already I've got a group of people now, small group of people, and I can think I could phone him up on that, or I could phone her up on that. So you get that sort of friendly circle because it's quite a lonely job. We're on our own in our environments during the day, so it's nice to reach out. I think what else it can give you is if you volunteer, you might be ending up speaking publicly, for example, for the first time, but only discover you've actually got quite a passion for it and think, well, I quite enjoy doing that. I might like to do another one. Or you start building new relationships within the IWFM that start leading to new jobs, mentoring opportunities, and maybe even lifelong friendships. I'm sure people who've been members of the IFM for a lot longer than I have built friendships through that or the organisation. So that's really nice to see. I've got a very small committee that we just started building. We've got our first committee meeting in September, when we're going to start planning what we can put on. Probably firstly webinars, probably a couple this year if we can get them in. So it'd be great to have some new members to try and boost that and get some more ideas in place. which I think we need this. We need the South to become alive again, Ian, don't we? It's been quiet within IWFM for a while, but I think we've
Yep.
got a lot of enthusiasm within that committee. Um, and I think also about it is it's great to bring people together with different experiences and backgrounds. People have fresh ideas, they might have more specialist knowledge, and you just need to be enthusiastic and willing to help, really. Every one of those adds value. Um, People, I think, worry about time commitment. And I understand that. We've all got day jobs which take an awful lot of time, and we've got families and other commitments. But it's not about giving every spare hour to the IWFM. It's about contributing in a way that works for you. So add value to it. And, some people might just say, well, I just want to help with an event, or I'm happy to join the committee, or I might just want to be a mentor in South Region. So it's just about what you want to do to support it. And no volunteer does it alone. I think that's what we're trying to build as a region is a collaborative group of people that can work together to add some real value to the organisation locally. So I think for me to do volunteering was a great decision. Not because it gave me a title, not because it looked good on my CV, but it's just brought me closer to a great community of people who care passionately about the profession and about each other. That's kind of where I am in.
Thank you. And yeah, to the point, it's an interesting one actually that you brought up there. Talking to another chair, and they said one of the great things about volunteering is that quite often you find yourself collaborating, whether it's on an event or a webinar or something like that, with people who in your day job might be your competitors. And it's getting those different perspectives on how
100%.
people work
Yeah.
to actually
Yeah.
broaden you as a professional. Thank you very much, Ian. Much appreciated. And last, but by no means least, Lee Cooper. Lee Cooper is the chair of the North Region, but he has kindly agreed to basically represent us on SIGs, special interest groups, as he is also a valued member of the Risk and Business Continuity SIG. Lee, would you like to step up and share your insights on volunteering, please?
I've been volunteering for a very, very long time. Nearly 14 years I've been an IWFM/BIFM volunteer. So there's a lot to probably talk about. I think in terms of volunteering, it's great fun. Sometimes it can be a pain in the backside, and you're thinking, why did I bother trying to organise this event when not everybody turns up? But it's one of those things. But the people that do turn up really appreciate the events, and you have great conversations, and it opens new avenues to you. You get pestered about people wanting to present about new technologies and things like that, which makes it a lot more exciting to actually make a difference to the industry. And maybe that technology is being adapted into the FM world. As working for the SIGs, Anna's already touched that she's part of the Women in FM and the Education SIG, and it's working for a SIG is bringing that element of expertise into that specific sector. And then I go and join the Business Risk and Business Continuity SIG, which covers absolutely virtually everything, which is a jack of all trades, almost, because everything that's potentially a business risk, whether it's health and safety, recruitment to compliance issues, is all business risk and business continuity. So it can be a minefield. And so the point of a SIG is just to give that little bit of guidance and a little bit of foresight into how others do it, whether that's we've written quick start guides where it's a quick one-pager about asbestos and what to do on asbestos, just to help out people as potentially where to look and where to go for information. Or there's large papers that are available on the IWFM website that you can go to and actually read the good practice guides, which is enough to send you to sleep. I'd read the quick start guides and try and focus on something specific. But it's one of those things that it's helping the industry, and all the volunteers and everybody who volunteers, You will attend the monthly or quarterly meetings, depending on the committees that you join. You will go to events. You'll have a few beers. That's probably the biggest perk you're going to get if Ian buys you a beer. It doesn't happen very often. But I've certainly had a glass of wine and a beer with Anna at Bolton University when Anna was there. So from that point of view, it's a great networking, and it's I want to say brotherhood, which is not quite probably the politically correct term, but hey ho. But it is. It's an organisation where we all club together. And when you're about on site or you're speaking to people, there's not many people that you haven't come across in the industry. We are quite incestuous in the terms of everybody's worked for everybody else and we all know each other. And I think just giving back to the industry has given me so much for the last 25 years has been probably part and parcel of why I volunteer. It's giving back, it's meeting new people, it's encouraging younger people to join the industry, and then it's also the social element that Ian's already touched on as well, where you're chatting, you're chewing the fat, and you're actually collaborating with everybody, and it's just a great experience. Is that
Thank
enough,
you very
Ian?
much.
Is my 20 quid in the post?
Your 20 quid's in the post, and I'd just like to bring you up. There was that time in 1988 where I did buy a round, so come on, let's be fair about it.
All right, fair enough.
No, that's very good, Lee. I do appreciate it. And so there, as you see it, you've got that very broad brush of different engagements, different things that you can get involved with. There's an awful lot that you can get involved in. Anna's into multiple situations. Lee as well. Ian's taken up the challenge of trying to reconstitute that southern region, which has been fallow for so long. There's a lot of things to get your teeth into, and you can think about it and actually find something where you can give back, which is what the good volunteers say all the time, give back, but also when you can get something back for yourself as well. It should be a two-way street, I believe.
Ian, the one thing I forgot to mention was I'm also an IWFM judge, and I have been for a number of years.
Yes, you are.
And that is another way to actually give back, where you can volunteer to judge for the awards. And that is something that is quite eye-opening as well, when you look at some of the things and the great things that our industry are doing.
Yeah.
Sorry about
which are
that.
not, no. And that's a really valid point. And many of them are not something that we shout about enough. So no, it's a really good point. Does anybody have any questions? And there are no silly questions, because if you don't know the answer to it, it's a perfectly valid question. Don't be shy, be brave.
Quick question.
And we do.
Sorry, we're doing chat. Sorry, I'll go back on mute. Pardon me.
No. Carry on. Carry on. Go for it.
I was just going to ask around what the opportunities for volunteering are. Is it that you would join like a special interest group and meet as a forum, and actions come from the back of it? What would it look like?
Does anybody want to take that, or do you want me to? I mean, I can tell you the process. One, for our governance, you need to fill out an expression of interest form. You will identify the areas where you feel. So, do you want to get involved regionally? As Ian said, got the South. So we've got South, London, Southwest, Midlands, East. We've got Ireland as well. Wales, North. I won't forget that one, Lee, as you're sitting there looking at me. I can't forget that one. And Scotland. So is it something location that you're looking to become involved in? Special interest groups, we've got 8 of them. They're all listed out on our website. So you can have a look at how you want to do that. Or is it a network? Special interest groups are a specialism. Networks tend to look after a group of people. So we have Veterans Network, ex-forces people. We have WIFM, obviously Women in FM. That's the general thing. So it's down to you to think about how you can get the most out of it and how you can also hopefully give the most into it. And then we would introduce you to the chair of that group, have a conversation with them and see if it's a fit for both of you. It's quite informal. Does that answer your question sufficiently?
Can I come in on that as well?
Of course you can, Anna.
There are a couple of reasons why we join, Adam, as well. You might be, so what Lee was just saying about giving back, absolutely. And I think you can tell by looking at all four of us on the panel that we're of an age and stage in our career where we have the luxury of time and resource to give back and knowledge to give back. But earlier in your career, if you don't have the benefit of being part of a formal committee or a group, where there are office holders and formal meetings and outputs from meetings, if you're going up through that strategic route, or you want to be going up through that strategic route, and that itch isn't being scratched at work, then these groups are a really great way for you to find out how governance works. So once you're a member of a community, and I'm just putting a little reminder in the chat in a minute that follow the communities page, the tab on the IWF homepage to find the communities that you might want to be a part of. Then once you're introduced, like Ian was just saying, then to the chair and deputy chair and find your synergies, odds are pretty soon a role is going to come available on the board and you can be an office holder. And I've never been a treasurer. That would be my next step. But secretary or deputy chair, I mean, these are roles that have very specific job descriptions to them, even as a volunteer. And understanding how groups work can be really pleasurable. And that is, I know Ian Batchelor said it's not just to put on your CV. Absolutely, it's not just to put on your CV and show up and not do anything, but put on your CV to support your strategic goals and aspirations, certainly.
Thank you, Anna. Erudite as always. Sasank has put it, what does the time commitment actually look like month to month in terms of length? And is there a minimum commitment before you can step back if it's not a right fit? What is the current gap on SIG? All of our SIGs are usually looking for people, but I say, and then I'm going to open it up to me to be shot down by anyone here. I say, really, you got to think about probably 4 hours a month. If you are putting on, as Lee says, if you're putting on an event, that could go up to 10 hours in that month or a couple of months. So it really does depend. But generally, I would say a minimum 4 hours a month would be sort of the ballpark. If you find it's not for you, the funny thing, I'm going to say this in front of chairs here, and hopefully they agree with me. We would prefer it if someone puts their hand up and says, honestly, this isn't for me, and leaves, rather than stays on and does not get involved and doesn't actually help drive that committee and community group forward. So it's being open, honest with yourself and with fellow committee members. That's the key thing. So I think hopefully that's answered your question there, but anybody want to pick up on that?
Ian, can I come in?
Yes, of course. Hello, Edward.
Thank you. Apologies, I need to leave shortly. I've got another meeting heading up. I've got quite a background with the institute. I was involved when the BIFM was formed, served on the board, etc., and coming back into BIFM, so or IWFM as it is today. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion, and thank you very much. And looking forward to getting involved in a few things.
I've passed your EOI on to Ian. Not the Ian that's on here, the other Ian. There's a lot of Ians around at the moment.
Right. These things take a little time. They don't happen overnight. But yeah, just looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alan, you've also put one. Sounds very interesting. I will be sending out an EOI form with a brief on this. So you'll get an EOI form that you can fill out. I'll also send a link to this so that you can watch it again if you really need to get to sleep early one night and listen to me for more than 5 minutes. Or you can download an EOI form, I believe, from the website, but I'll send one out. It'll probably be today. It might be tomorrow morning. We are looking for people in the southwest, so you would be very welcome there. And Richard Kimber's doing a great job down there as chair as well. So
if I can shoot you down then, Ian, in
well,
terms of, in
go
terms of the
for
time
it.
limits, just so I don't want to disappoint everybody, but you're probably looking on average of 2 to 4 hours a month. You normally an hour for the committee meeting, and then if you're helping out with we normally as a committee or a SIG when we're doing an events, we'll have 2 or 3 people helping out. So normally you're not getting anywhere near the 10 hours a month. It's normally between 2, maybe 4 maximum if you're helping out on an event. So the 10 hours is a little bit extreme, although I've just done 2 days of judging. So yeah, judging is completely different, which normally takes about probably 4 days to do the judging, and that's a year rather than a month. So from that point of view, you're probably looking at a good 2 to 4 hours a month. If you get near 10, then it's a big event that you're organising rather than the smaller networking event.
Thank you, Lee. Always happy to be shot down in flames by somebody who knows what they're talking about. It's not a problem. Do we have any other questions that anyone would like to put forward? We've had a couple of good ones there. Please do feel free to do so. As I say, there are no silly questions because, if you're new to volunteering and you need to get an angle on it, or if there's something that's pertinent to yourself, feel free to step up and ask.
Yeah, and we're all on LinkedIn, so if you don't want to ask a question on this forum, then reach out on LinkedIn and we'll answer any questions you may have. I'm sure I speak for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, hopefully today, if not tomorrow, I will be sending out an email follow-up on this. So it'll have my email on it. You can always come to me and talk to me. I think it's fair to say we're actually a pretty friendly bunch, us volunteering types, aren't we?
We absolutely, it's a warm welcome, but it's a welcome with purpose as well. It's not just pizza and wine at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, is it? It's purposeful. There might be different times depending on your group when you meet up and how it's catered or not catered. It is going to take a certain amount of your personal or your work time, but we don't get to that next level if there isn't an element of sort of putting our own equity into it, whatever that is. I mean, Lee puts on in the North region. The last event I went to was fabulous. It was at Manchester. I forget what the name is. It's not Manchester Central, is it? It's the
Printwork. Oh,
Printworks. Yeah. And nowhere else would I have been able. And there's a previous colleague on the call. I hope Jared doesn't mind a shout out. Hiya, Jared. I like a back of house tour. So where else would I have been able to see back of house in a historic building, beehives on the rooftops of Manchester, come away with my own pot of honey, also understand how that complex facility is run as a hospitality venue in a busy city. I mean, it was just absolutely fabulous event, fabulous input from all concerned, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not been a member of the North Committee. Jared, you and I have gone behind the scenes at an airport and various other places. I mean, we don't get to see how better to get to see outside of your own particular FM bubble and see how somebody else is doing it. I mean, isn't that the whole reason for getting out of our silos?
There's a call to get out of a silo.
Again, keep banging the drum. There are some things that are getting a bit tired, isn't it? And for those of you who saw me at IWFM Live, I didn't want to be too Tony Blair, but it was education, skills, competencies. And skills and competencies don't necessarily look like coming to uni or going to college or anything like that. It's how you shape your CPD, and it's how we look outside of our own immediate limits of our comprehension and competencies and see how other people are addressing the similar challenges that we've got as a sector.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Because if there aren't, I will give you time back in your busy lives. If you do have a question, feel free, pop it in the chat or come on and speak up. I think you've seen.
I've
Jared,
got one.
go for it.
So go on then. So like sustainability group, for example, an interest, just sustainability as a whole and the buildings we're in. Talk me through the day in the life of a sustainability SIG kind of meeting. You know, what's the initial kind of input? Like how's the kind of collective conversation around, right, we're meeting this month, we're going to discuss X, Y, Z as the agenda. And how does that transition into kind of outputs that we say, right, let's go do this so we can help kind of further the industry? So what does like a typical dialogue look like for a meeting?
Well, can I come in on that? So, Lee, I saw you just take a breath. I can answer.
No. You go for it, Anna. I was just
Sustainability.
looking at Ian, looking up, and I'm thinking, is he looking up at me to speak?
No, I was looking up because there's a butterfly that I'm trying to gently usher out of the room back into the garden, if you must. So I'm trying to be sustainable with the pollinators and the wildlife. That's the link. Anna, you are on the sustainability SIG, so it's probably best placed to answer that question.
Well, it's a delight to answer that question because we've got a lot of collateral, I suppose, in the sustainability SIG. We've got the longest running survey. It's been running for 14 years. I appreciate as well, you're already members if you're on this call, because that's how you found us. I appreciate you might feel like you get spammed by IWFM in terms of emails every day about this, that, and the other, but do fill in the sustainability survey because that is one of the flagship documents that Lee was referencing earlier about the knowledge and insight guides and so on. So our annual activities, Jared, revolve around the sustainability survey and the market outlook survey. And the market outlook survey, it surveys all our members. The response rates are fantastic on that, and they tell us what the problems are, challenges are that people across different stages of the career, so senior down to operate people at the pit face operationally, what they are. And then through the lens of sustainability, we attempt to address those. So we've got the sustainability survey that complements that as well. So what's important to you at the moment? And we know for those of us in sustainability that there are challenges to that. We look at the political challenges from across the pond where there's dialing back of environmental protections, and we discuss those in our monthly meetings, and we look at the key themes and what reasonably we can do with the knowledge in our group as an output. And that's why we've got the climate adaptation best practice guide that is one of the outputs. We've had a waste best practice guide. We often partner and are funded by organisations, so we do seek sponsorship so that we can have this sort of collaboration. So that was in partnership with Equans. But we've also got a best practice guide coming up. We're just about to put in process from August onwards a panel where we can scope out what circular economy means to FMs. And then we get put forward. So we are chaired by Sunil Shah, who's managing director of a sustainability consultancy. I know that he's at the top of his game as well because of his credentials in greenhouse gas measurements, putting together frameworks as a consultant. He also delivers teaching for FM and so on. So he's somebody that I would like to be peripherally adjacent to, if you will. So I know that he's a person of quality. If, we're always looking for the authoritative source, aren't we, when we're looking for people to be associated with. And he then opens doors to us with collaborations with other activities that are going on. So if I wasn't a member of the Strategic Leaders Forum, Sunil asked me to go forward and go on this roadshow from a sustainability perspective about strategic asset management with the SLF. As it is, I'm on the SLF, so I know about it already, but that's where he will put you forward for certain activities. So he's plugged in at a higher level because he gets to see, do I have time, Ian, just to slip in the bit about members' council and so on?
probably, I was going to actually come in there because there's an interesting couple of points you've made that I just would, if it's okay with you, just
Yeah,
like
sure.
you mentioned the sustainability survey, absolutely important for everyone on the call. I know we send out too many emails. I get it. But if we send out a survey, please take time and fill it in, because unless we know what our members want, it's more difficult for us to give it to our members. So if you can tell us where you're going. The other thing that you mentioned, that thing with SLF and sustainability. So Jared, again, what does it look like? We're heavily promoting collaboration. So where we can actually really tie in, Ian, for example, with the regions, Lee with the regions and the SIGs, multiple collaborations, because it amplifies a message of, okay, what is the problem with, and I'll stick with sustainability because it happens to be what we're talking about, in the north? Are there problems with legacy buildings in the north different from what we have in the south region or in London? And those things can be explored. So there's an awful lot of outreach you can do with outside of your SIG network or region to actually really deeply get involved in the things that are cross-cutting FM.
Absolutely. So, Jared, just the nuts and bolts. You've got the monthly cadence, or if it's the SLF, we have a fortnightly meeting. So that's our cadence. And for that, you get the minutes come out promptly. Everybody's got an action or a working group. If you're in the SLF, we're all in working groups where we've come gathered around certain themes that help us discharge our mission and vision as the SLF. And then there are various activities, that we are powered by volunteers. So we're always seeking premises and we're always seeking sandwiches for somebody to put us up and host us and let us have our event with them. And then the deputy chair, and some groups have 2 deputy chairs, some groups still only have 1, but it's nice to have 1 warm in the back pocket, isn't it, Ian, to share the burden of deputy chair. And you get the opportunity 3 times a year to go to the members' council meetings. And the members' council meeting is a 2-way conversation with how main board let us know what's happening with the strategy and how we can fit in with that. And then we get the opportunity to share all the good work that we're doing that supports the group strategy of IWFM. So that's the conversation. It's really beneficial to be an office holder and on a committee. It really is. Does that answer your question, or is it flagged up even more?
No, it's answered it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask one last call for any questions if anyone has one. If not, I will give you time back. And thank all of you for attending. Hopefully you found this informative. Whichever way you decide you want to move forward, if it's not for me, well, then at least you've made the right decision. Hopefully, though, it is for you. And we'll hear from you with your expression of interest forms. And I'll look to introduce you to the relevant people to get you back into and forward thinking into volunteering. Thanks
very
everybody.
much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.